1, 2, 3, clap. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hey Buddy, Nice Podcast. Over there, boiling a haggis, that's Brogan Hastings.
And throwing some shrimp on the barbie, it's Wayne Giovinazzi.
Have you actually even eaten haggis?
No, but I've seen people eat haggis. Well, no, I tell a lie. I think I had haggis when I was really young, but I don't like it. I didn't like the smell, or it's probably the texture as well.
Was it the gut, the intestine, or the lung that you weren't a fan of?
It doesn't look like that though. When you see haggis, it looks like mince. It looks like mince with like grain and stuff in it. But so I can understand why a lot of people like it, but it just looks and smells rancid to me.
See, what you should have said, you shouldn't have said shrimp on the barbie for me. You should have talked about a steak and kidney pie, because that's something
English.
that Aussies. Oh, it's English, but it's Aussie as well, because it's, you know, a meat pie. So it's fucking Aussie as. But I've only eaten that by mistake, by accident. I do not go out of my way to eat offal. That and lamb's fry one time, which I did not know was like innards of a lamb.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I do not do. I'm bad enough with meat in general, but yeah, offal I cannot do at all.
I think back when I was a meat eater, I tried it because I think it's the kind of thing my mum likes. Because one of the weird things she likes, with our 4,000 kilos of veggies every meal.
Yeah,
I've never known anybody to eat vegetables like my mum eats vegetables. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, we know my problems with meat anyway.
Yes.
So yeah. No.
Say your problems. They're not mental. They're physical problems with meat.
Yeah. It could be mental. I don't know.
It's a psychosomatic issue with meat.
Yes.
That's what you have.
Yeah.
My problems with meat are, I do not eat anything off the bone. I cannot have something with bone in it.
I remember you saying this.
Yeah, I think it might have been on Hey Scoops I was talking about it. I don't remember. Anyway, is it weird that I only refer to Ice Cream Social as Hey Scoops most of the time? No, it's their handle. It's fine.
It makes, I suppose it does make sense, right enough.
Yeah, but chicken is a hard one. I only eat the white meat. So nothing on the bone. So none of this drumstick business. I won't eat a thigh.
Yeah.
So it's just breast meat. And even then, if I'm making a chicken dish at home and cutting up a chicken breast, I go through a process.
Yeah.
I have a way that I will cut this that I will carve this raw chicken breast, because as a kid, I don't remember the chicken breasts having so many giant veins running through them, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's this GMO bullshit. I don't know. Oh, are we getting into Rogan territory here? I don't know. Joe Rogan territory? I don't know. Anyway, look, a chicken breast, it's got a weird part where it connects to bones, which I have to like slice off in the beginning. Then I'm explaining this to you who probably has no idea what I'm talking about, because you just don't eat chicken.
Yeah, and even when I did, it was like, I don't know how to describe it. They were already off the bone. They were already like chicken breast fillets.
Yes, a chicken breast fillet. That's not my problem. This is two separate issues. One is nothing with a bone.
Yep.
Two is trying to get the chicken that I will eat off of a chicken breast. Like, I have to dissect it.
Right, yeah, no,
with the precision of a surgeon.
Yes, I used to do that as well.
Yeah. But see, it starts off, you take it out of the packet of chicken breasts, you place it on the cutting board, you pull out your knife, and you scrape off the chicken slime from the top.
Oh, I would rinse it.
Oh, what? You rinsed chicken?
Did I think I did. I know I washed my hands after touching it.
Oh, yeah. No kidding, you wash your hands after touching raw chicken.
No, but I mean from pulling it out the packet.
Oh, yeah. You have to.
I would wash my hands a lot in between.
Working in a kitchen,
no, kitchen
you
roll.
learn...
I think I used kitchen roll to like roll it to dry it out.
Kitchen roll, not just for spiders.
Multi-purpose.
Multi-purpose kitchen roll. No, see, when working in a kitchen, you learn that one hand is your wet hand, one hand is your dry hand. So one hand is for taking your chicken breasts out, the other hand is for holding your knife.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's the chicken slime is your first step. The second step is cutting off all the weird like bits of white crap, which I assume is chicken fat. I don't really know. So. That still is classed as chicken slime to me.
Yeah.
And then I cut it into 3 separate parts. I've got the main part, the fleshy bit, which has got no veins in as far as I'm aware, where I just dice that nicely. Then you got the weird part, which is the very veiny part. That's where all the veins live. That's where you have to dissect it like a surgeon.
Yeah.
And then the last part is the weird part that like connects to like a rib cage or something. I don't know. But that is just trying to find the good meat.
Yeah.
It sounds psycho talking about it now.
No, I'm remembering all this because it's been a long time since I've cut any kind of raw meat. But I do remember, especially with chicken breasts, that I would cut bits off and my mum would be like, "Why are you throwing away all that good chicken?" And I was like, "It's not good chicken. It's disgusting."
Exactly. When I worked in the restaurant, I knew that I could not be like that. I would just take the chicken breast and cut it up and they say, "Here you go, chef. Here's the diced chicken. Do with it as you wish." The people in the restaurant, they're not going to look too hard. They're just going to eat it.
That's the thing. As long as you're not the person that's eating it, that's fine.
Yeah.
This is not what we planned to talk about first thing.
Oh, I tell you, it's on topic, actually. Oh, no, it's not. It's on topic because I've got a lot of talk about birds.
That's
Speaking
true.
of chickens, there's some microphone abuse for you. I did not mean to hit the microphone. But we'll circle back to the bird talk. I guess the pressing issue is, I guess a couple of days ago, Her Majesty the Queen, she dead.
Wee Lizzie's dead. What a shame.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I mean...
It's a very strange thing for me because I don't know if I've ever said this to you or folk before, but the Queen was the spitting image of my grandma. My grandma who died a couple of years ago now, literally just before the pandemic. So it was always nice to see pictures of her because I always thought, "Oh, it's my wee grandma." So the announcement...
Do your banknotes have the Queen on it?
Yep.
Okay, so every time you would pay with cash, you'd be like, "Oh."
Yeah, pretty much. Like any pictures, any video, anything, I was just like, she really does look like my wee grandma. And then the announcement came up, and it did feel a bit like losing my grandma again.
Oh, that sucks.
Know? I can understand why folk are like... I don't really know. I get that people are celebrating because it's like... Because they're down with the monarchy anyway. They're like...
Yeah.
But I don't mind a joke here and there. Like, one of my favourites is the fact that the Queen met Liz Truss, went, "I'm better than this," and immediately noped out and made it a Charles problem. I don't mind stuff like that, but yeah, at the same time, it's like...
I just look at it as, like, yes, there's obviously going to be jokes, and it's a coping mechanism for some people. 2, some people are making jokes because they don't like the monarchy or whatever. 3, they're making jokes as jokes. But I'm fine with all of that. But either way, it's still a person is dead. That's what it comes down to. Yeah.
And I think the funny thing is, even the people that I've spoken to that don't like the monarchy, I'm not a big monarchy fan. I don't hate her. I'm just like, whatever.
So you would not call yourself a staunch monarchist?
I'm not a staunch monarchist, no. But the Queen's different. She's just a wee old lady, and I get that there's bad stuff. There's stuff that she shouldn't have done as well. But it's my wee grandma, so a wee fake grandma.
Are you folks getting a public or bank holiday?
I thought we were getting one on Friday. I'll be honest.
Like this past Friday.
Yeah, because obviously they announced that she'd passed 6:30 our time.
Yeah.
On the Thursday.
I mean, they can't just pull it out of nowhere. They have to give you some notice. Like, I learned today that we're getting the 22nd. It's a Thursday? We're getting the Thursday, the 22nd off.
Oh, I think that's because our funeral is the 21st.
Oh, okay.
So that would make sense with all the time difference and stuff.
That's already some kind of national day of mourning or something.
Oh yeah, we're already in national mourning. This sounds so bad. The BBC can't play any comedy shows for 12 days following the Queen's death.
What?
Yeah.
Is that okay? What comedy shows are on right now on the BBC? I need to know what shows I'm missing out on.
It's not so much what are on right now, but the new series of Ghosts is due to start on the 23rd, which is just after.
Oh, that's okay. I can live with that. Yep. Yeah.
So but stuff like that, but all like news channels and stuff, it's literally just talking about the Queen, you know?
Really? So right now, news coverage 24/7 for you is Queen this, Queen that?
Pretty much.
I mean, I haven't turned on terrestrial television in a long time, so I don't really know what the news is talking about.
Mm-hmm. See, I don't either. I only know because my mum and dad were watching it, and I was walking past. I was like, oh, right. I was walking past literally as they announced it.
That she did.
Yeah. But then I just went upstairs and put on Monty Python.
Yeah. Which, not to sort of console yourself, you were already doing that anyway.
Yeah. But I was like, oh, thank God I've got Netflix.
Yeah. So is everything on Netflix for Monty Python? Like, not just like the movies and that, but like Flying Circus?
Pretty much everything. The only Python adjacent thing isn't even a Python thing. It's a thing called Holy Flying Circus, which was a comedy thing they done that was the story of when Life of Brian released. Yeah. Because obviously there was the whole controversy thing culminating in John Cleese and Michael Palin going on a chat show with this bishop and a guy called Malcolm Muggeridge. And it was the angriest Michael Palin has ever been.
I can't even picture Michael Palin being angry.
You wouldn't think so. I mean, for a normal person, you would think they look a wee bit peeved off. But for Michael Palin, you're like, oh my God.
All right. So on a scale of Michael Palin at his angriest, being the maximum on this scale, and 0 being not angry at all, where would you say I fall on that scale? Where you've observed me?
You've literally broken the scale. You're up at like John Cleese levels.
Actually, yeah, I haven't thought about that before. You're probably right.
On a scale of Pythons being angry, Michael Palin being the lowest. Pythons at their angriest, Michael Palin the lowest, John Cleese at the highest. You're brushing the John Cleese levels.
Okay, the problem is John Cleese is angry as a character. Mine is not a character. Mine is a personality.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was just him in general, though.
Well, it takes me back to what Penn says when they were filming Unpleasant World of Penn and Teller, when they had John Cleese on. When Cleese said to him, you and I have both found value in being a big angry person. Yeah. To paraphrase.
The thing that always makes is that John Cleese always picked fights with the Terrys, just for fun, just for shits and giggles.
What is a Terry?
Terry Jones and Terry Gilliam.
Okay. I thought it was just your pronunciation of Tories or something like that.
No, we hate the Tories anyway. But
yes.
But no, it would just like on their very last live show, 1 Down 5 to Go. They were getting the way the show starts off is there's like a fake TARDIS thing that they all get into. It's playing a video on the screen that comes up and the boys come out. When they were getting into it, as the overture's playing, they can hear the music, and I think it was I can't remember if it's Terry Jones or Terry Gilliam, but they were saying something, and John just goes, "Shh, shut up," and they were like, "Oh, right." There's a beat, and then Eric goes, Dad. "They can't hear us, you know." And John says, "Yeah, I know. I just wanted to pick a fight with Terry."
Yeah.
You know, that just
That was really their last live special. That was the one that was at the O2 Arena.
Yeah,
that seems like it was so long ago.
It was almost 10 years ago. It was 2014.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's because that's obviously changed now, and it's 2 down, 4 to go.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because who was it recently again? Or
Terry Jones.
It was Terry Jones, yeah.
Terry Jones back. Well, he'd been ill for ages though. He had dementia and stuff, and you can tell watching the live show. Like he said to them at the start, my memory is going. And like when you watch, like not even the version that's on Netflix, if you watch the clips that are on YouTube, which you like include the bits that they've cut out, there's a whole section in the Whizzle Chocolate sketch where Terry just totally loses his thing, and John just rips the card out his hand because he's reading it from a card.
Oh,
which
really?
makes sense in the sketch. You know, he gets away with it, but John rips out his hand and reads it with him. You know, which is fun. Like, if you were just watching it and you didn't know, you would just think it was John just being a dick, and you know, and it's funny in context, but it's very much John covering for Terry.
Yep. Speaking of the Pythons, I guess we can go straight into drawing talk because you've been doing some drawings.
Yes, this is a funny thing. This is one of the first things I think I've ever. I don't know how to say it. Like the first thing I've got back into or into in general, where I've just been able to be like, I'm going to draw that. You know, with Penn and Teller and stuff, it was a good few months after I got into Penn and Teller that I started drawing.
Okay.
I think it was actually a year. I think it was a year because it was right at the start of the pandemic kind of stuff that I really started getting into them. And it was 2021 that I started drawing. So this is the first time that I've been just gone back into something and I'm just like, I'm just going to draw this. So it's been that's been quite fun. And it was very much a brush experiment as well. I thought I'm going to try out some new brushes on Procreate. And
what brushes have you been experimenting with?
The calligraphy ones.
Yes.
Because I wanted to try the different brush style and what it does and stuff. And it's all right. And it was a good test with just doing stuff in black and white.
Yeah.
Or grayscale.
I'm liking the grayscale.
Yeah, I think it kind of suits it well. But it 100% came from the fact that I was watching old Flying Circus stuff and I was like, wow, Terry Jones was Hollywood handsome. Like, and if you see, like, even just headshots and stuff, it would be easy to think that he was like an old Hollywood star, like, you know, Clark Gable or something. But like, it was stupidly like Palin was always, you know, the cute one, and Idol was the one that I think was just the most gorgeous, either dressed as a man or a woman. I used to say back in the day, he's a more beautiful woman than I could ever hope to be. But no, Jones, I was like, wow, he was actually gorgeous. I can see why so many women just slept with him.
All right, so what was Gilliam then?
Gilliam was the little goblin weird freak man.
The goblin. I would maybe the talented one, being that he with his directing and stuff like that.
Well, that's because that was Jones for the most part.
Yeah.
It's a hard one because you could absolutely not that you could imagine Python without any of them. Apart from Cleese, because series 4 is without Cleese, but
is it?
Yeah. Okay. But even that, it feels weird. It feels wrong. But you couldn't Gilliam's the aesthetic. You know, that's kind of what made it really. Like, if you ever any of the promotional material, any of the books, the stage show, it's got Gilliam slapped all over it.
Yeah, to me, it all feels like that he's more than just the talent in the show. Like, he's doing more behind the scenes stuff and promotion, I guess. I don't know what you'd call it today.
Yeah, because I think he used to say he had the most freedom out of the lot of them, because what he used to say in the scripts was, stops here, Gilliam starts, Gilliam ends. And he's like, how I get there is up to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's But at the same time, it was always quite funny to see him in sketches and doing stuff. And I've been listening to the albums as well, because they're all on YouTube Music. I do have the actual physical records, but, you know, listening to them, there's one that's, I'm sure it's Terry Jones starts off, and now Mr. Terry Gilliam will sing for you. I've got 2 legs. And that's how he sings it. And Terry just sings, and about halfway through the song, he just gets shot. which always made me laugh. Which was in both the live shows as well. Just
really?
Terry coming across the top of the screen on strings, and Cleese gets out a shotgun and shoots it.
See, this should really be your cultural exchange for me, is to watch all of the Python stuff. Python. Do you say Python or Python?
Python. So it sounds like it's got an I rather than an O.
Yeah, see, whereas Americans, they all, as far as I'm aware and have heard, they all say Python.
Yeah.
When saying Monty Python. It's like...
But they don't say Monty, they say Monty Python. And they have Monty Python. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, it's like Melbourne. Let's go to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Look, let's go to Melbourne and visit the Arsies.
But you know what? America did Python a lot of good, so we'll not knock them too badly. But so how much have you seen then? The fact that you're saying you've not seen any, like you're...
Look, no, I've definitely seen Meaning of Life.
Yes.
Multiple times. I've seen bits and pieces of Flying Circus. And the thing that I can't stand the animated bits in any of it.
Oh wow!
I don't like how it looks. It disturbs me. I think I don't know what it is.
I can understand that. I will say I prefer the animated bits in Flying Circus over the ones in the movie, and I think it's because there was much more freedom in Flying Circus to just do whatever the hell he wanted. Whereas with it, like with Holy Grail, it obviously had to look Arthurian.
Yes.
You know, with Life of Brian, was there animated? I don't think there was animated bits in Life of Brian. There's a weird alien bit.
I've heard of that.
There's the title screens, which match up. But yeah, I was. I'm trying to think of the animated bits that were in Meaning of Life, but I think it was just the title screens.
Maybe one or two. There wasn't much.
Yeah, title screens and the Galaxy song were the only two I can think of.
So I think that might be all I've seen is Meaning of Life, a bit of Flying Circus, and Holy Grail.
And I say this as a Meaning of Life apologist, someone who really does love that movie. You've seen objectively the worst Python film.
It's because it is just sketches and skits, really, isn't it? Put together. Yeah.
It does have a chain that goes through it. But that's what I never understood about why Americans loved Holy Grail so much. Because it's very much that. It's very much just skits put together. So if you ask an American what the best Monty Python movie is, they say Holy Grail. If you ask a Brit, they say Life of Brian.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I feel like a lot of maybe comedy enthusiasts say Life of Brian. Maybe that's what it is.
I think that's the opposite. From what I've seen, like I suppose because I watch a lot of the like interviews and stuff like that. Every time I've seen them go to America, be any of these Q&A stuff, everybody always mentions Holy Grail.
Yeah. And
it's never Life of Brian. I always put it down to the fact that the religion thing with Life of Brian, which really annoys me, but that's a whole other podcast. It's me talking about the religious aspects of Life of Brian. But Life of Brian was good because it was a film. It was a whole film. Okay, it had sketch bits in it, but it felt like a whole film.
It had a beginning, middle, and end.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
It had one story that went through it that happened to have side branches off to other bits.
Yeah. I feel like if I was going to watch Python stuff, it's going to become something to me kind of like when I got into David Bowie, where it's like I'm just going to take in literally all of it and that's going to consume my life for this long. And I know that there is a lot to take in.
Yeah, I would say that's no bad thing. That's what happened to me.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what, and I can remember it because it was just before graduation. And like, I've seen everything Python, like everything. And I remember the minute, because I'd watched Holy Grail and Life of Brian years ago. My cousin got me the DVDs for either my birthday or Christmas. And I remember, and I know that Holy Grail was the first one I watched because I spent at least half an hour trying to turn off the Swedish subtitles. Because no one had told me, and I was a kid, I was like, oh, fuck, I'll just sit and watch it. And then I was like, why are they talking about, oh, right, okay, this is supposed to be like that.
Yeah. See, I didn't have that problem because the first time I saw it would have been on VHS.
Right, yeah.
So I would have realised that it was the bit.
Yeah, no, I did not. I did not. But so I watched their age, and I thought, yeah, they're okay. For some reason, for some unknown reason, I thought Graham Chapman was just the main actor that they hired in each of these movies. I didn't realise he was an actual Python.
It's like, wow, he gets a lot of work, doesn't he?
Well,
must be friends with them or
thought,
something.
wow, they're using this guy again. He must be really good.
Yeah.
And then I remember I was really ill. I can't remember what it was, stomach flu or something. I was like, I just want to watch. I think I'd gone out. I think I was like, okay, I'm going to go out and buy myself something nice to cheer myself up. And I found the 40th anniversary edition of Holy Grail. And it's like a big box set thing.
Really?
It's shaped like sort of castle tower thing, and it's got wee bits with it that's essentially got this plastic thing that you stick in the back, and you can fling cows. Little plastic cows that you get. It was great. And I watched that, and I thought, actually, this is quite good. I should maybe watch the original series. So I went out and bought Flying Circus, put that on. Bearing in mind, this was before Netflix. This is back when Netflix was selling DVDs.
This is when Netflix you went to their website and signed up, and they would send you unlimited DVDs for unlimited time.
Yeah. Yep. So yes, I went and I bought Flying Circus. I remember putting it on, and at first I was like, okay, I don't really know what this is. And the sketch that I fell in love with, which was, and it's in the first episode, it's Whizzle Butter. And it starts off with a Gilliam animation. And it's like, try new Whizzle Butter. 9 out of 10 housewives can't tell the difference between Whizzle Butter and a dead crab. Right? And then it cuts to a bit where Michael Palin's like an interviewer, and the other 4 guys are dressed up as the Pepper Pots. And Graham Chapman goes, I can't tell the difference between Whizzle Butter and this dead crab. It's like, yes. Yes, 9 out of 10 British housewives can't tell the difference between Whizzle Butter and a dead crab. Yes, he's right. Graham Chapman, John Cleese hits him with a handbag. Yeah, you're that guy off the television, aren't you? Yeah, with all these silly women who can't tell the difference between Whizzle Butter and a dead crab. Oh, yes. You try that round here, young man, and we'll slit your face. Just feeling going, what the fuck? I was like, oh, right, shit, I love this.
So you've kind of put it into context. You've said after graduation. I don't know if that means high school or extra studies.
University, Vampire Cape era.
Vampire Cape University.
Yes, I'd watched all the stuff just before then, and the night before graduation, I watched. I can't remember if it was, and now for something completely different, Hollywood Bowl or Meaning of Life. I think it was, and now for something completely different.
Yep. So what you're saying is I need to watch all of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In that case, I'm going to make you watch a whole bunch of Sean McAuliffe stuff.
I will watch Sean McAuliffe stuff.
Yep. I'll have to curate a list.
Sean McAuliffe or Sean McAuliffe?
Oh, you know what? That is case in point. That is a constant running joke through literally everything he does.
Right, okay.
Is the pronunciation of his surname.
Right, that's okay. As long as you're not going to shout at me for pronouncing it wrong, that's fine.
Oh, no. See, I'll have to make you watch. I'll send you a. Actually, no. I'll put it on like my Plex or something, and I'll let you log in and watch some DVDs, which is collections of a sketch comedy show called Full Frontal, which is where he got his start, basically, where he got his popularity.
Yeah.
And that way you can get an appreciation for who he is. And then I will do the same. Maybe some, there's a bunch on YouTube as well. Some specials that he's had and some shows that he's hosted, because there's one series called the McAuliffe Program, where he is playing himself, but is also a character. So it's
like Stephen
fake
Colbert
version of himself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So basically, he is an asshole in the whole thing, and it's great.
Yeah.
So that is what I really want your opinion on, is McAuliffe Program.
Okay.
And then maybe some other stuff. Like last episode, I referenced a Sean McAuliffe bit, and I knew that you wouldn't get it, but I'm hoping some of our listeners did. I don't even remember what it was when I said "into the bin" and I made a whoosh noise. That's a Sean McAuliffe bit.
See, you do bits and just let it go. I do bits and say, "Do you know what I was referencing?"
Yeah. Well, I knew that you would not know my reference. So.
No.
It's like, even I sent you the link to the review that we have on our podcast.
Yeah.
That I noticed that had a McAuliffe bit in it, which is it was a good question, thanks for asking, where he references the audience and says what the audience is thinking or saying, and then replies to it.
Right.
Speaking of reviews, dear listener, go onto iTunes and leave us a review.
Yes.
We appreciate it. Apparently, this kind of thing helps comics. Sure, why not? But
review
also
our comics, review anything you want to.
Look, I looked up and I looked at my notepad and it said comic on it. But yeah, it helps podcasts, allegedly, but we don't know. After all, oh my God, this is cause for celebration. Brogan, we're into double digits. This is our 10th episode.
Oh, so it is.
Yeah.
We made it.
Like, yeah, and there's hold up a drink of Coca-Cola in a Pym Labs glass.
You might want to cut this out.
Plastic.
Considering it's almost 12 o'clock my time.
12 o'clock at night.
Journey to the fridge.
The journey to the fridge. Yeah, that looked like a Diet Pepsi. I almost bought Pepsi Max, but I bought a Coca-Cola full sugar.
I have Diet Pepsi at the house, and I have Pepsi Max at work.
Because you need the real shit. You need the good shit for dealing with work.
It's mostly because the supermarket that's behind my work only sells Pepsi Max.
How can a place, look, just so you know, nothing's getting cut. We'll truncate the silence and shit, but this is staying in, because this is important talk. Pepsi Max. How can a place sell Pepsi Max? How can it only sell one and not the other?
I don't know.
I don't understand.
It's not a big supermarket. It's a very small unit, and it's designed for people to nip in and out. They're very aware that there's a lot of businesses coming round and buying stuff for their lunch.
Okay, so it's more like a bodega kind of thing. You've been to New York. You've surely seen a bodega.
Yeah, that's probably closer. It's like, yeah, it does. It's laid out like a supermarket, but it's the size of a bodega.
Like a local convenience store.
Yeah. Like a 7-Eleven, but bigger.
Yeah, okay, there we go. But still, look, I have a good friend. We won't name him by name.
No.
We'll cut that.
Despite the fact that
I have that will get cut out.
Yeah.
I have a friend who works for the company that supplies Pepsi to places in Perth. Whether it's like little delicatessens and little stores, and it's supermarkets as well. I must ask him, like, do some places say, look, just give me the Pepsi Max, don't give me the Diet Pepsi? Hang on, this is a moot point. I don't think we have Diet Pepsi in Australia. I think we only have Pepsi Max.
Oh!
Yeah, what am I talking about? I'll you know what, let's get him on the phone now. Let's find out. I better not do that, because he probably has family obligations right now. After all, it's almost midday Scottish time.
It is.
Or as I put it yesterday, Highlander time.
I like Highlander time. I do.
Highlander time.
I still think we should function on Vegas only time. Just
Vegas only. Well, you've got Penn's one time zone rule as well. You know, his theory of one time zone. Everywhere just works on the same time zone, where, sure, in Vegas it might be midday, but in Perth it's still midday, but it might be middle of the night, midday.
Mm-hmm. It's that always makes me laugh because he says, and we should be GMT because they had it first, which is my time zone.
Oh yeah, that's right. So you get all the good times and all the daylight and night times when it should be.
All the times that make sense.
I don't look. Either way, it's fucked because you're still you're either not dealing with time zones, but then you're dealing with local times, which is the same fucking thing. It makes no difference.
Yeah.
And don't get me started on the imperial system. If you're driving down the motorway, what does the speed limit sign say?
Miles per hour.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
That does not make any sense to me. Why? Why is it you? Okay, if you're saying I'm going to drive to Glasgow tomorrow. How far away is Glasgow? Is it in kilometers or miles?
Miles. And miles only because that's like I would work it out based. It's miles per hour because it's miles per hour that's on the cars. That's the speedometers.
Oh, I understand that.
Right. So I don't understand why it would be miles on there and kilometers per hour on the signs. Because then you have to do maths while you're driving.
All right. So beside let's forget the Pepsi and Pepsi Max talk right now.
Back to art.
We're going back to art. So you've drawn your Python stuff. Is there anything else artistic that you've done?
Two things, because since the last episode, I posted the bi-weekly Penn and Teller hand stab.
Oh yes, which is a great bit.
It's such a good bit. I think that's what I like about doing the bits is that I end up going back and rewatching different versions to try and get the thing, and it's such a good bit. That's good. But on Friday, I done my first ever solo stream.
Ooh. See, I did see that this happened when I was asleep, and I did see that you were like, hoping this worked, shrug. First question is, how much time did it take you to set up the drawing stream to be semi-confident that it was going to be going out to the public?
Maybe about 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, that's not terrible. Yeah. So, did you already have a Twitch account set up ready for streaming, or did you have to do all that?
I have a Twitch account. The problem was I was doing it from the office. Because
oh, okay.
The problem is I went to go and see Jaws in IMAX on Friday, and that was great. This sounds like a digression, but it's not. So it was playing at the cinema that's maybe about a 15, 20-minute walk from the office. So there was absolutely no point in me going home and then coming back in.
Of course, yeah. So, hang on. Edinburgh or Glasgow?
Edinburgh.
Gotcha. Now I know exactly where you were. Because I know my Scottish geography.
You know exactly which Scottish cinema I was going to.
Yes, it was the... no, I don't.
So, anyway, I thought, I finished work at 5. The film was on at 10 to 8. I thought, I'm just going to get food at work and hang about. Because if I go home...
Come on. 5 and 10 to 8. That is almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
See that quick math I did there? That is almost 3 hours of getting food.
Mm-hmm. Getting food. And I knew I had my iPad and I'd charge it and I knew I'd be safe and warm in the office.
Okay, so you stayed in the office. Is that what you're saying? So were there other people in the office in these outside of office hour times?
There was, I think, 2 other people in the building. And they both left.
Okay. See, I've never had a job where I could be in the office outside of regular office hours.
Oh yeah, I've got a key. I've got a key.
And the code to the alarm, I assume.
So
okay.
So I can go in early. I can stay late. It's not a big deal. So I did it from there and was just sitting there. I had my iPad, got it all set up.
Yeah, of course. That's the fact that I'm neglecting to think of, is that you're using an iPad. Is clearly more simple to use an iPad to stream on Twitch than on your PC desktop at home.
Yep. So
or laptop.
So yeah, so that was fun. That was very strange. And I think my problem is I'm not very good at... You might laugh at me for saying I'm not very imaginative. I'm not... I'm really not. I'm really bad. Like, you'll notice that in our drawing streams, I bounce off of what you're doing.
Which is the whole point of the drawing streams, is to... I do the same. It's like, you draw something, and it's like, oh, I want to draw my version of that.
Yeah. So I find it difficult to know... To just draw things on the fly. I have to have a... So I started off by looking at an animatic thing, and I thought, actually, this is hard to do on stream. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to... Because I always say that I need to go back. When I first started doing the P&T bi-weekly bits, I had maybe a backlog of 3 or 4 sitting there ready to go just to post.
Yes.
And I kind of miss having that. I'm not a big fan of just doing it on the, like, as and when it needs to be posted. Because I stress myself out with it, and I know that I'm like, that could look better.
I totally understand this. As we speak, I have like 4 or 5 comics now waiting to be posted. And this is the first time in about a year and a half that I've had that. So it's what it keeps you sane and keeps you free to be able to work on new stuff at the same time.
Yeah. And I think it's quite interesting for folk to see how I do it. You know, it's interesting to suddenly be aware of how I'm doing it. And it was nice. Chris stopped in, obviously.
Oh, did it? Nice.
And Gasman Scoop.
Oh, really?
Who's an English Scoop, who is who Myra and I are going to meet when we go down to Oxford, which is awesome.
Oh, for the big Penn and Teller shows, is that right?
No,
No? What are you going to Oxford for? Oh, for Bob Dylan?
No, Bob Dylan's in Glasgow.
No.
Have another guess.
Okay, hang on. Let me guess. What else is happening? I have no fucking clue.
Derren Brown. I'm going to see Derren Brown.
Oh, God, really? You're going to see Derren Brown?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Reggie raves.
More power to you.
Reggie raves about his show.
Yeah.
So,
the thing I don't like about Derren Brown is I don't know if he's serious or like, yes, this is my act, or this is real.
I think for a while, he started off like this is just an act, and then he went through a phase where he was like, oh, this is real, I can really do this. And I think it was Teller actually went to him and was like, you stop that shit. You stop that shit right now.
Yeah.
And
because I remember a whole bunch of specials on TV that I fucking hated him for. That's where I first learned about him. Would probably in his phase of this is real phase.
I think that's where I learned about him too, but I was only kind of vaguely aware. Like, I knew the name and I could tell you what he did, but never really watched anything. But yeah, it's been a good few years now that he's back to normal. Certainly since he done his Broadway show, because that was the one that Reddy went to see, and he was like, no, this was good. And we know that Reddy Rich wouldn't say that if it was...
Of course, yeah.
So, but the main reason I picked the Oxford ones because I want to go... There's a magic shop down that way in Southampton called Merchant of Magic. And when I buy magic stuff online, it's Merchant of Magic I use.
Merchant of Magic,
so I would really... We don't really have proper magic shops up in Edinburgh, so I'd really like to go down there and see it. And Myra said the same, so that would be nice.
On the same topic, today I learned I need to go back to Brisbane because I have a friend who is currently, I think they're from Canberra, and they're visiting Brisbane. The person that I sent you, did I send you a couple of photos of that?
They're doing the bit.
the bit. Basically, the bit is the Leaning Tower of Pisa bit, where everyone takes a photo where they're pretending to hold up the Leaning Tower. Basically, they're going through and pretending to hold up whatever is behind them, but it's never lining up perfectly. So they're holding up nothing, and I fucking love it so much. Shout out to Tori if you listen. I don't know if Tori listens, but I saw that they went there in Brisbane, and they were going to a magic bar. Ooh. Which I didn't know that sort of thing existed in Australia, which I think I have to go to check it out, see what it's like.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I say as if it's like a easy car trip over to Brisbane. No, it's not. It costs money and planes.
How far is Brisbane?
Oh, so look, it's on the other side of Australia. It's like traveling. Yeah, it's like traveling from LA to New York. It's not close at all.
That's exactly the example I was going to use. But yeah, it's
closer than traveling to Sydney, I think. I don't know, but not by much.
Yeah. But that sounds good.
So your drawing streams, I was very disappointed that I went onto your profile and you have not set up archive streams, so I couldn't see it.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, I'll tell you what you need to do for that. And even then, it will only archive it for a certain amount of time. Yeah. And then if you want it to stay on your profile, you need to turn it into a highlight.
Yeah. No, I tell you why I didn't archive it. It's because I knew, it was screen sharing my iPad. And obviously when you go on Procreate, it was showing stuff that's spoilers for certain people.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I didn't.
Yep. So George Clooney, if you're listening, there was a spoiler for you.
But
I don't know why George Clooney was my go-to.
Neither do I.
No. So that was that one thing. That was both your things that you were talking about. Your other two things. It was your hand stab and your drawing stream.
Yes.
That's about it.
I'm currently working on next week's P&T bit, which currently is King of Animal Traps.
Oh, are we talking spoilers here, or you don't want to spoil anything?
I don't mind. It's not something, I suppose, because it's not like there's only so many P&T bits.
Well, the thing is, there's a few versions of Animal Traps now because Teller is older, doesn't like hanging upside down or swinging or anything like that. Which version have you gone for?
So there is no. So the way it's set up in the picture, because like I said, it's hard to get the trick in one frame. So with it, it's got Teller reaching into a trap, which is from quite early on in the trick, and Pen's behind him, holding out the plate with the sandwich on it. Yeah. So it could be any version of the trick.
See, King of Animal Traps is. I mean, we should really be talking about this next week, but we're talking about it now. Yeah. But was it on Unpleasant World, King of Animal Traps, or maybe not?
I think it was. Unpleasant World
if it was,
given that it's a UK film series, it's the Penn and Teller thing I've seen the least of, or seen the least amount of times.
Yes, but it's the thing that I saw. It was one of my early Penn and Teller. I have to say the Penn and Teller things that I'd seen before I knew anything about Penn and Teller, because I sort of stumbled upon it. Whereas before that, the only thing I'd seen was Phobophilia. And when because Penn is giving the monologue, and of course I'm aware that Penn talks, Teller doesn't. It's like I didn't know if any of it was autobiographical or if it's very weird to comprehend at the time. One, knowing nothing really about Penn and Teller except for what I'd seen previously, which was a special, which wasn't really a magic special, and then whatever episodes of Unpleasant World I'd already seen on this VHS the hour before or whatever. So I'm thinking maybe I know that Teller doesn't speak. Maybe Penn is speaking from the voice of Teller, and maybe Teller was really into Animal Traps. And then it's like, it's just a bit, isn't it? It's just a bit.
That's what cracks me up about almost all of Penn's monologues. When he talks about stuff like that, that the amount of times that I've thought that's autobiographical, and I thought no, it's not. Like the one they done for A Fool's Closer, which was Teller's Wonderland. Which, do you remember this bit? It was sort of Alice in Wonderland style with the big doll's house. And he said, Teller had this when he was a little kid. And people were like, did he really? Yeah. And Ben's like, no, he didn't. It's like, it's a bit. It's a trick.
Yes. That is the one where Mox came out at the end,
yeah?
Yeah. But yes, I'm looking forward to King of Animal Traps because it resonates with me for this memory that I have.
Yeah, it's
which honestly, all these Penn and Teller bi-weekly bits, they do elicit some kind of emotional response.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why I'm doing it. You know, like certainly for myself, just to remind myself of all the bits, to say these are good bits. You know. Yeah. And that's the problem I have with writing, like I've said to you before, writing comments about them, is how do I say I love this bit over and over and over again?
Yes. Yes. So for the hand stab, because I said, hit me up for bits, and I'm like, I've got some puns here. What did I give you again for hand stab?
I can't, you gave me a few. I think I used 2 of them.
I'll look it up. Hang on.
There was one of them there's something that you said, you asked about, because I made a meme ages ago.
With the
Would Stab Vegas edition, and it goes from Matt Donnelly, who would never stab anyone ever, to Teller, who would stab as a warning.
Yes.
Matt Donnelly's would never stab anyone. Mac King would stab someone in retaliation. Penn would yell, "I won't hesitate, bitch," first. Piff would stab without warning, and Teller would stab as a warning.
See, I think that one needs an edit where Penn says, "I won't hesitate, but I will feel terrible, and I don't know how I'll live with myself afterwards." But we ended up with, what did you say? You said hand stab, another classic bit that came back with a vengeance during pandemic Zoom performances. A bloody good trick that gives a new meaning to palming a card.
Bloody good trick and palming a card were you.
Yeah, they were my it's the Paul Mattingly to your Matt Donnelly. Is 100% what that is.
But yeah, I think I did apologise for your puns in that post.
You did, yes. I didn't read that part. I was not going to apologise for myself. But speaking of apologising for myself, it's time to apologise for these terrible, terrible comics that we're about to read, because that's right, it's time for the podcast within a podcast, the Not So Good at This podcast.
Not so good at this.
Okay, so today we're looking at comic number 394, working title, Vegan, and it's 3 panels long. In the first panel we see a gentleman and is saying to his friend, "Let's check out that new vegan place," and his friend replies,
"We can, but it's not 100% vegan."
And in the last panel, they're now at the vegan restaurant, and they're being led to their table by an anthropomorphic cow who is saying, "Welcome to Vegan Pete's. I'll show you to your table," and the two look very concerned. This comic I was forced to draw by patron Jesse M. They threatened to replace all the keys on my keyboard with just the letters C, O, and W if I didn't. That's the comic.
Is it really bad that I was trying to work out how C, O, and W spelled Wayne?
It spells cow.
I know. I was like, what does it spell? What could you type with that? You can spell cow.
Not so good at this.
This next comic is comic number 395, working title, Dick-appear, and it's 4 panels long. In the first panel, we see a guy exclaiming,
"Yeah, but you can't do real magic."
And in the second panel, we see a magician saying, "I bet I can make that dick disappear." And in the third panel, the guy is all excited. And in the last panel, he's back at home looking in the mirror, and he clearly has had his genitalia removed magically and is saying,
"The fuck?"
And this comic is special thanks to Patreon supporter Ryan G, who will now only date mentalists. That's the comic. And I tell you, what really pisses me off about this comic, do you know what pisses me about, do you know what annoys me to the nth degree about this comic, Brogan?
Because
do you know what it is?
It was asked by your brother.
No. Well, there's that. But no, he didn't ask for it. I just dedicated this to him.
All right.
Look closely at the last panel. What is wrong with the last panel?
He's.
You don't know?
Is it because he's still got sleeves?
Oh, yes, you did mention that to me as well. He does have sleeves, but in the mirror, his eyes have got colour, but in the real world, his single eye has not been filled in with colour.
Oh, I thought that was eyelids. I thought that was eyelids.
No.
So.
It's published now. It's to the world. There's nothing I can do about it.
Oh, I genuinely thought that was like the back of the eyelids, so I'm okay with that.
All right, good. All right.
I don't know why you kept him sleeves but gave him titties.
They're not really sleeves. I never thought about it. It's the way to differentiate that he's got hands. Yeah. Well, after you said that, I deleted the little part where what would be the sleeve, and it just didn't look right. It looked like it was from like 4 years ago comic. It wasn't good.
Not so good at this.
And the last comic for today is comic number 396. Working title, This May Hurt. It's 3 panels long. In the first panel, we see a patient visiting their doctor, and the doctor says, "This is going to hurt a bit." And in the second panel, the patient replies,
"All right, let's do this."
And in the last panel, the doctor is consoling the patient, saying, "Your art sucks." And special thanks to Scoop John B, who got a PhD telling people harsh truths. He studied on the streets. That's the comic. Brogan, my friend is very angry at us.
Why? What have we done?
It's you know how it's the one brain thing that we've got going on?
Same brain syndrome.
It is literally the same brain syndrome. Because every time I show them a picture of like my stickers or my my little pins and that, they always have the same comment. And when I was like, "Oh, take a look at this awesome hoodie that Brogan sent me with our podcast logo on it," it's like, "Oh, cool. So where's the website on it? Is it like on the back?" It's like, "No." It's like, "Oh, so what are you doing to promote, like actually promote and point people to your content?" It's like, "Oh, I don't do that. I've got nothing saying not so good at this.com or at Wayne Geo or heybuddynicepodcast.com or nicepodbud.com. It's like, we are not actually promoting ourselves is the problem that they have with us.
That's a very good point. I will say in my defense with the hoodies is the hoodies are not sold commercially. They are for us.
It's for us.
We don't 100%. Need to promote it to anybody.
That's right.
You know,
it's. I think wearing the hoodie in public is for one day someone will say, "Oh, cool! I know that podcast." It's like, "Oh, do you?" Yes. Well, am I about to blow your fucking mind?
Yes, that's what that's for. But that is a good note to take forward for any future potential merch.
Yes, I think so. It needs to have yes, branding is one thing, but we have to direct people to us.
Yeah, I think even for especially for the more obscure designs, which we may or may not put up, and I'm thinking specifically like 80s pop, and I'm so proud of that one. I do really love that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which you wouldn't be able to tell.
Then you've got like ICS and the monkey joke, which does it have any reference to Ice Cream Social on it?
I was thinking that there isn't actually any, specifically the pro design I done. That's got no reference to, but I suppose at the same time, it's not for promoting.
Yeah. That's right. I think it's funnier not knowing what it is.
Yeah, out of context ICS bits.
Yeah. Whereas apparently we should be pimping ourselves out at every opportunity.
We also have a much smaller listenership than Scoops, so maybe he's got a point.
And speaking of which, look, if we mentioned merch, if you want merch, let us know. And look, the plan was eventually we'll get around to doing some merch. But if you want something that says, "Hey Buddy Nice Podcast" on us, "Hey Buddy Nice Podcast" on it, let us know on Twitter or something like that. Just say, "Hey, yeah, I want your merchandise. I would give you some coin for that."
Or even just stuff, like if you've seen us do stuff on our drawing streams and thought that would be good on a t-shirt. I would buy that.
I would wear a shirt with a gelatinous cube with a sword in it. I mean, I wouldn't.
Who wouldn't?
But if you would, let us know. Yeah. But also, just let us know that on social media and interact with us on social media. But the problem we're having at the moment is people are saying, giving us suggestions for our opinions on things and accent challenges on like Twitter. And the problem I have is I forget it straight away. And I go back to look for it, and I can't remember where it was said, if it was a private message, if it was a comment on a tweet, and I can't find it. So there are things that have been said that you want my opinion on, and I cannot find it. I don't know where it is.
We're not ignoring you. We just can't find it.
No, that's right. Look, in all sincerity, email us at admin@nicepodbud.com. That's the best way to get our attention for things where you want us to comment on them, unless it's like just general conversation. That's perfectly fine for social media. But if it's something you think would be good for the podcast, then email. That is definitely the way. Because this is a fault on me, not on you, the dear listener. It's a fault on me not remembering where I've seen it and not being able to find it again. That is it, purely on me.
It's a fault on you, not our dear cheese bags.
Yes. When I say me, I mean me and Brogan, because I see Brogan looking all smug like, yes, it's certainly on you, Wayne.
What people don't realise, you do far more work than I do.
That's not even part of it. That's nothing to do with it. Honestly, it's part of my wanting to have some control over things as well.
I'm quite happy to let you take it. That's why I don't touch as much stuff, because I'm worried that I touch something and you're like, what happened there? What did we do? What? Oh my God, why did we say that?
What Brogan is referring to is that in reality, there is very little editing that goes on in this podcast. The most I do is I remove I truncate some silence, because we're working across Zoom here and there's a bit of a delay. So I'm getting rid of that. And there are some things that we know that we want to remove that we're talking about just between us. But outside of that, I don't do much. It's just that it takes time to re-listen through what we've talked about. That's all. Yeah. And I said, Brogan, you listen to our podcasts anyway.
Yeah.
You want to listen to us.
It's very strange. It's very strange to hear yourself back, because I don't sound like I do in my head.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, in your head. Because to me, you sound pretty much like you sound.
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought my voice was deeper than it sounds on recording. And I laugh a lot more than I ever realised. None of the laughing is fake. That's all. I just apparently laugh that much.
Because I'm goddamn hilarious. Let's go with that.
And there I come again.
Yeah. All right. There's no segue into this, but we build it at the top of the show. And if I don't talk about it now, I'm not going to talk about it. And I've got some shit to say about birds.
Okay. We'll do birds and then we'll talk about the poll, because we meant to talk about that as well.
We'll talk about that after, because I'm assuming we're doing an accent challenge.
Yeah.
I've got some shit to say about the poll as well. But no, look, I messaged you. I speak well. Me pronunciate as well. I messaged you earlier this week and said, I've got some shit to talk about birds. Yeah. So if you've got anything to talk about birds, get it in your head now.
Yeah.
And you probably don't. But look, what triggered this was I was driving to work and I was driving down a street close to mine. And there was a guy walking down the street with a fucking bird on his shoulder.
Why?
Right? Yeah. I can tell by your expression, you're like, ooh? Tim the Toolman Taylor, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like, it was like almost like a parrot. It was green. I'd never seen a bird like this before in the wild. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't on his own. He was with his family as well. Yeah. It's like, we're just taking our bird for a walk.
As one does.
It doesn't make any sense to me. And I think it was the next day I became a murderer. Yep.
What listeners don't know is we're currently recording. Wayne is sitting in a prison cell. We hid it until now, but here we go.
Yes. No, not a murderer. Maybe a bird murderer? A birderer? No, it wasn't. No. It was more...
Bird homicide.
It was more a bird slaughterer. I'm a bird slaughterer. Manslaughter. It was not on purpose. This is the first animal I have struck with my car.
Ah, right.
I was driving down a road that I don't normally drive down, but my maps, my Waze told me to go this way. So I trusted it. Yeah. Little did I know it would have an effect on me emotionally as a person. I was driving down this road. It's a neighborhood basically. So you're going 50 kilometers an hour as your max speed. I don't know what that is in Scottish miles, which I've just learnt is what Scotland uses and the UK uses for their fucking speed limits is miles. But yeah, it was a pink and grey galah, and it was just sitting in the road, and I didn't see it, and until it was too late. I'm driving along, and then I saw it, and I'm thinking to myself, "Move, bird, move, move," and it doesn't. It's not moving at all, and literally, I shouted. I was like, "Ah!" And then it flies up, and then ka-dunk. It's like hits the car. I assume it just it bounces off somewhere, and it's gone. I don't know where it went. I wasn't going to turn around and look. I didn't look in my rearview mirror. I have no fucking clue. I mean, the day I got my license, I almost hit a cat. It ran out in front of me, and since then I've been so cautious of every single fucking animal that I see, and then it was just this one that I didn't see, and it was a. Do you know what a galah is? Gallah.
I feel like I would know it if I seen it.
Okay, we'll post a picture on the socials of a pink and grey galah, because you also get like pure white galahs as well, but like this is the classic galah. Yeah. And then I'm driving to work. It put me in a bit of a mood as well, obviously, as it would.
That's not hard to do for you.
No, that's right. Not like an angry mood. Not like a above John Cleese angry man mood. This is sort of man, it was a dampener on the whole fucking day. Yeah. But driving along to work, I did remember something else. I don't remember this specifically. Apparently, I was in the car for this, but I would have been very young, and I only remember my brother really telling me about this, where we were driving somewhere. I say we. My mother was driving, and for those playing at home, I think it might have been near Lake Munger, which we call Lake Mongrel, and there was a bunch of these pink and grey galahs standing, whatever they do, in the middle of the road. And as we're approaching them, my mother says, "Oh, you ready? Watch this," expecting them to all fly away. But no, they don't fly away, and she fucking massacres them.
Watch this while I massacre all these fucking...
Yes. Are you ready? You ready? Watch this. It's like she's expecting this magical thing of all these birds flying away, but it's like, no, it's like all these birds getting destroyed.
Oh.
I'm glad I don't remember that, and I only know of it from my older brother telling me this. John, I'm sorry that you have to live with this memory.
I know that when not on the same level as that, but certainly where our house is, there's one of our neighbours has trees, so we get birds flying over quite a lot and shitting on our cars. Essentially. Of course, yeah. And we have done for years. And my mum used to do a bit where if ever we went out to the car and saw that a bird had shat on it, she would angrily shout at the sky, "I'm going to turn you into a feather duster." And we just thought this was the funniest thing ever when we were kids. Every time a bird shat on the car, "What are you going to do, Mum?" "I'm going to turn it into a feather duster."
See, seeing that guy walking down the street with a bird on his shoulder also reminded me of something else. one day I went up to the local shops, which is like literally it's walking distance. Yeah. That's how close it is. And he was walking back to his house carrying a slab of beer, which is like a carton of beer, like 24 pack of beer, walking his pig, his pet pig. And it was, I'm not talking like a teacup pig or anything like that. Big motherfucking pig. It's like, just going the bottle-o, walking my pig. People in my neighborhood do not have cats and dogs. They've got birds and pigs that they walk around with in the neighborhood.
Quality
I don't get it.
Right there.
Yeah. This pig, it was big at the time. I haven't seen it in years, so I'm assuming it's dead or been removed from the neighborhood because there was complaints made about it. Like the rangers were called and they're like, "You're not allowed to have a pig in this," shit like that. But it got gigantic, like huge hogs. It was a hog, basically. I'll see if I can find the photo because I managed to snap a picture of it when it was being walked back from the bottle shop, from the liquor shop. We call it a bottle shop or a bottle-o. It had like a flower on its head or something like that. I've got it somewhere. It's funny. But speaking of pigs as well, I've got some other bird talk, but we're not going into that. We're talking pig talk now.
Just before we move on to pig talk, I would like to say the only thing I ever think of with birds is Penn's comments where he spoke about, do birds have arms? And there are two things I remember about that. One of them was watching the live stream, which I don't think is available anymore, and that makes me sad. But at the same time makes me glad because I took screenshots of it, which was somebody. He must have spoken about this before that episode, but somebody had written in and read this out at the very end, like after all the credits. It said, "Look, Penn, just to let you know, birds do have arms. It's their legs. Blah blah blah." And Penn's face was just, "Oh my god!" I'll send you the screenshots because it was just like, oh, he was so delighted. And then not long after that...
That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. How are their legs their arms?
I can't
what
remember
the fuck are
why.
It was,
the letter entirely explained it. It's the way they use them.
Okay.
Something like
fine.
that.
Okay, yeah.
But not long after that, the series of Phyllis started. And there was a bit where he was saying to a guy who's like, I love your trick. You didn't fool us. Birds don't have arms, and that freaks me out. And that's almost exactly what he says. I was sitting there like, did you forget you were being recorded? What the fuck, Ben? Like, I don't know if that was him telling us how the trick was done, but I think it was just random.
Yeah, well, he knew he was referencing something, surely.
But
he knew he was talking about.
What could he possibly be referencing?
I don't know. He knew that he was freaked out by birds not having arms.
Yeah. But it just, every time I think about birds, that's all I think about, and it makes me laugh.
Speaking of birds, you probably don't have this experience. Have you ever been, or do you ever fear being swooped by a bird? I assume you know what swooped means.
Is this when a bird swoops down and steals your food and attacks you?
No, not at all.
Oh.
It's when a bird, attacks you, but it's not after your food. It just goes for your fucking head to inflict damage.
Oh, I don't think I've ever feared that. I've been freaked out if a bird flies a bit too close, but...
See, we're approaching swooping season, my friend, in Australia.
I think we're
coming up to spring.
I think I've heard of people talk about this before, and somebody said that they had to wear a helmet every time they left the house.
It's more than that. They will still come at you with a helmet. Specifically, a magpie. So magpies in Australia, I think, are a little bit different. So what does a magpie look like to you? You're aware of you have magpies?
It's probably a small to medium bird, maybe about half the size of a seagull, white and black, pretty chill.
Okay, so black and white, probably closer to the size of a seagull. They're not small birds. I consider them they're not like an albatross, which is a fucking
chunky
huge
boys.
bird. Smaller than a crow. Let's go with that.
Right.
But still very pointy beaks.
Mm-hmm.
Being spring, it is their mating season. Yep. Their season, I don't know if it's probably not their mating season, it's their season for their offspring to be born. Mm-hmm. So we have signs in parks that are saying, be aware, it is swooping season. If you go near trees, if you come into this park, be prepared, you may be swooped. And one of these creatures, this animal, can easily take out an eye. It will make you bleed. So much so that people riding bikes will wear a bicycle helmet, of course, as they should, but not just a helmet is not going to stop them from attacking you. They'll still come at you with a helmet. You put on cable ties, zip ties through the holes in the helmet, so it looks like you're wearing a big spiky thing on your fucking head to make sure they do not attack you.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That is, I mean, we were talking about spiders last week.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about magpies.
Wow.
I came home the other day and there was a magpie on my driveway and it had like a fluffy caterpillar or something in its mouth. And I was like, all right, bro, cool. And I sort of parked and I started walking down and it flew away. I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. I checked my mail and then I'm walking towards my door and I hear the wings going. I'm like, shit. I'm looking around like, fuck, it's coming at me. But no, it's gone and landed on the fence, still with this worm or whatever it was in its mouth. I just treat it with respect. I'm like, my friend, how are you? I'm just going to go into my little doorway here so I can get to my house. You good with that? And maintain eye contact the whole time just to make sure it knows that I'm aware of it. I know that it is aware of me. No attacking happening here today, bruh. Yeah. I'm keeping all of my blood inside my body. And yeah, it was amicable. We were fine. And I haven't seen it since, which is good because, yeah, I'm more scared of them than spiders in Australia. They will cause me damage.
Wow. So the lesson here is everybody should fear everything in Australia.
Pretty much. I laugh that off, but it probably is correct.
Yeah.
I think last episode I said that the last time I saw a spider, a snake, was when it was under my fridge, which was a long time ago when I was like a wee child, to put it in Scottish terms. But that's not true.
A wee bairn. Scottish terms, but okay.
What would say again?
A wee bairn.
A wee bairn.
Bairn.
What is spell bairn for me?
There's A's, I's, and R's in it, but
BAIRN or something like that. Okay. So bairn is a word for child or something?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all we need to know.
BAIRNS.
Bairns.
Aye.
It's very close to bear.
Aye.
It's very close to Chris's child.
Yeah.
But no, I do recall having to jump over a snake more recently than that. Still as a child, but it was more recently. This was just to keep myself honest, so I'm not lying to you, dear listener. That's all. So yeah, we say, and apparently pigs I have to be cautious of as well because people will walk them down the street.
But with flowers on their heads, so they're clearly okay.
That's right. There are other pigs that I need to be more concerned about, and this happened the other day, and I'm talking about the popo, the police.
Ooh.
I messaged you this, and you did not even respond to it at all.
I don't remember this
which was surprising. I messaged you that the pigs rolled up on me.
I think this was maybe a similar thing to when you thought I had a stroke and you were just like, okay.
Okay.
I think I seen it much later and was like, well, if it was anything serious, he would have told me, surely.
Yeah, no. The police rolled up on me, and I do not react well to this.
Anything, but specifically the police.
Oh yeah, not a good relationship with the police. I'd gotten myself something to eat. I got myself a burger, a chicken burger, a fried chicken burger from the local Red Rooster. This is still relevant to bird talk, Red Roosters. And I decided, this is at like a little shopping center complex area, right? I'm going to get my burger. I'm going to go park behind the shop and enjoy my burger. And it's not really a parking lot or anything behind there. It's like truck area for grocery stores to have their deliveries taken to. And this is like a truck turnaround area. Yeah. But it's nighttime, it's dark, it's like perfect place. I don't want to be bothered by people. I don't want people to watch me eating in my car.
Sorry.
So I park there And as soon as I've parked and turned off my car, there's a little driveway thing where cars and trucks can drive through.
Yeah.
A car just pulls up and stops right in front of me. And I'm like, this is weird. And I don't know if I turned on my lights or something, but when I did, I could see them, and it said police in that like shiny reflective letters on the side of the car.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck me. Okay, fuck, shit. What am I doing here? I'm just eating a burger. And it felt like minutes long of me just sitting there. Reality, half a minute, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But they're sitting there. That if any car wanted to come in this driveway, they couldn't. They were blocking traffic. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? What do they want from me? So I'm like, what do? I don't know what to do. So probably not the wisest choice. I get out of my car. I pop the boot. I pop the trunk. Get out of my car. Walk to the back of the car. This doesn't look suspicious at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what's in the trunk of my car. I have no fucking idea. What am I going for here? And I lift up the trunk. I'm looking. There's jumper leads. There's a big plastic bag. There's some signs that Kez and her friends made to hold up to Louis at Louis Tomlinson concerts. I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? I've got no go-to here. And I lift up the plastic bag, and under the plastic bag, there is what I assume to be like a cloth or a towel or something. I have no idea what it is. I still don't know what it is. But I picked it up, I grabbed it, and like, all right, this is what I'm going with. And as I close the boot, I see the cop car has now pulled up beside my car. And I'm just like looking at the cop in the car, just staring at him, like eye contact made. And he's just looking at me. I don't know how long for. And like, what do I do now? It's like, all right, break eye contact, pretend I don't give a fuck, open my car door, reach into the inside of my windshield, and just start wiping it with this towel thing. So what am I doing? And then I turn around and look at the cop again, and he just gives me a head nod. I'm like, and then he reverses out and fucks off. It's like, this could have gone any which way, and I don't know if this was the wisest choice. If there was no towel in there, or I went in there yesterday to look at it, what it was, and I don't know what it is. It looks like a thing that someone makes to put over their lounge armchair or something to put television remotes in. It's like little pockets.
Yeah.
I'll get a picture of it. I'll put it on socials because it's got Velcro on it as well. I have no idea what it is. But now I've got this big greasy smudge mark on my windshield from this making these circular motions, pretending to clean my window. It was not good for my anxiety.
No.
I tell you, the last time I've been in this situation, I was at a local park, and I parked my car to have a coffee during my lunch break at work, and I was stuck there because while I was having my coffee, a police car just parked next to my car, and then they were just hanging around talking on their break or whatever. Yeah. But still, I cannot approach my car and go and drive away. It's not physically possible for me to do.
Good on you for the commitment, though, because I would have, like, I make jokes a lot about how the fact that, if something like that happened to me, I would just cry because I'm an ugly crier and people don't want to deal with that. I might have actually cried if they had come out and talked to me, mostly because I can't lie for shit. The
thing is, I've had nothing to lie about, nothing to hide, but it's past experience is like I can't. No, there's nothing. The only other option I was considering was climbing the limestone brick wall that I was parked behind and just running a fucking way.
That would have been worse.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I genuinely thought when you said you were going to the boot of your car, I thought you'd pop the trunk and you were just going to climb in there and pull it down.
I could have done that.
Like, I'm having me time.
Yeah. So I will do what I feel in my car, Mr. Officer, sir.
Me and the Louis Tomlinson signs would like to have a minute
Yes.
alone, please.
Yeah. Microphone abuse, hitting microphones. Stop it. There we go. So on that note, are we going into an accent challenge? I don't know how far we're in on this.
I think we've maybe run a little bit longer, but we should talk about accent challenges anyway.
Okay. Oh, we're talking about the current accent challenge, which has still got a few days left on it. By the time you're listening to this, it's over and Brogan has won, I am assuming.
Bearing in mind, I don't think either... I've certainly not voted for myself yet. I don't think you have either.
I've not voted for myself either.
It's not going to make a difference.
No, it's not going to make a difference because as we stand... Hang on, let me bring it up. Opening the Twitter poll. Let's see. Profile. Here we go. Pinned it to the top of our Twitter profile. It is the accent challenge from last episode. Who gave the better Independence Day speech? You know, that all-time classic best speech ever from a movie, not cheesy at all. With 15 votes, the split is 86.7% Brogan for president, 13.3% for Wayne for president.
How many votes have we got? 15 votes.
15 votes. But that's fine. I expect this. It's okay. You are the reigning champion of the Ice Cream Social Scoop Fest accent challenge.
It's certainly a boost to the ego, validation, because I know I can do a better American accent. I know I can. I just get nervous.
Oh yeah, me too. Yes, 100%.
So I always feel like if we do this and we do an American thing, and people are like, what the actual fuck, Brogan? Then, I've been found out, and that's it.
But let's see what the people have had to say.
Because people have actually commented on this, which is even funnier.
So Justin, aka Froyog Soft Surf, the person who created our theme tune.
The music whiz himself.
That's right. Justin had to say, Brogan had a bit of a southern flavour in the USian accent. Wayne sounded very East Coast, awarding to Brogan. This is my issue with it, right? Yes, he's commented on how we sounded. That's fine. And yes, we say vote for whoever you want for whatever reason you give. Perfectly fine. But awarding to Brogan, there is no reason given, Justin. It's just you've commented and then said who you voted for.
That is because Justin is my internet big brother. So he's my sibling,
right.
And I love him, and of course he's voting for me.
So what I'm hearing is Justin is always voting for Brogan. All right, that's fine. Justin, if that is the case, you are banned from all future polls.
I will sneak you in. I will sneak you in, Justin.
Look, in Australia, we have private ballots. You don't have to say who you voted for. If it's going to make me feel bad, don't say who you voted for.
And if it's going to make me feel good, tell me.
Yeah. See, this is where I appreciate Chris, aka the Microscoop. Chris just says, Wayne sounded like he should have been wearing the hat the guy in front of him was wearing, and then no mention of who they voted for. That's good. See, I don't know if it means he voted for me or voted for Brogan. Perfectly fine. But it sounds like that's conflicting with what Justin said. If Justin's saying I was sounding East Coast, that sounds like Chris was saying I was sounding more cowboy, which is less East Coast.
Yeah.
I don't know where these people are going. These are the people in the know. These are the Americans. Mm-hmm. We've got another one, Jenny Grayson, Ranchan. Wayne started out real strong. I like where this is going. But mispronounced tyranny.
Yep.
Okay, fine, whatever. It's not my fault that the word tyrant and the word tyranny are pronounced completely different. In Australia, I believe we say tyranny. A tyrant is committing tyranny, not a tyrant is committing tyranny or tyranny.
I think you're maybe the only country that does that, and that's not a bad thing. But I have never heard a single person say tyranny. And when we were doing that challenge, I literally did sit there and think, is that how it's supposed to be? I'm just going to say tyranny, because if that's going to be the deciding factor, then yeah.
To be fair, I when I said tyranny, I thought the same thing. I was like, I'm mispronouncing this word.
Yeah.
But no, that's not where it ends. Jenny proceeds to say, Wayne then went a little less serious in the end. Look, that is 100% on me. I wasn't trying to make light of it. I just didn't want to get louder and more abrasive because I'm in a household with other people. And I was trying to bring myself down while still portraying the seriousness of this speech. And it I agree. It came across less serious. That's fine. But however, Brogan was strong throughout and ended well as pronouncing tyranny correctly. So Jenny, we know where you voted. That's fine. You don't have to outright say that you voted for Brogan. We know. It's fine. I can live with that. I appreciate that this is... we say, vote for who you want, for whatever reasons you want, and that's perfectly fine.
And we both tried to sway the voting with this.
Oh, yes, we both tried to sway the voting. And neither of us voted for ourselves. Brogan's feeling pretty good about themselves right now. I'm feeling a bit down in the dumps. Yeah. I'm not... Look, I understand that we live in democratic lands. We vote how we want, and that's the way we want it. Look, maybe next time I'll perform better.
Well, apparently, I still haven't heard what my mother thinks of this round of Scottish accent. So I need to get her.
But we didn't do Scottish accents. It was only your natural accent. You know what? That's all I care about. I just want to know who your mother thought was better.
Final deciding vote lies with the voting time.
Yes. Hey, we're still in the early days. I may have a revival. I may have a comeback.
Very possible.
It's not going to happen.
Oh, I thought you meant in the life of the podcast.
Oh, no. I meant on this particular poll. Yeah, in the life of the podcast. It is a possibility. But look, if you haven't voted before, and sure, there's nothing to vote on this time, but it's at NicePodBud on Twitter is where you vote. But you can also find us everywhere on social media, NicePodBud. But yeah, come have a chat with us. You know, just because we're not got anything to vote on, talk to us. Like, comment on things we say. You can ask us questions, but like I said, we may not remember them on Twitter. Yeah. Email us, admin@nicepodbud.com.
Yes.
You know what? You can even go nicepodbud@gmail.com if you want.
Ooh.
If you want options.
You want to go old school?
Take your pick. Either way, we will see it. Look, if you just want to have a chat, you can talk to Brogan at 7 billion needles.
And if you want to chat to Wayne, it's at Wayne Geo.
Yeah, that's right. We want to talk to you. Do you want to talk to us? We need friends.
We have each other. We have Chris. We have Justin.
We're not lonely at all.
Oh, did I say this on the podcast about what somebody said to me?
Maybe. Possibly. Oh no, I don't think you did.
I was talking about the fact that, my friend Wayne in Australia, my friend Chris in Tennessee, and somebody at my work looked at me and said, "Do you not have any local friends?" I think I might have said this last episode, but still.
Yeah, you did. I think it got cut, and it's in the bonus stuff.
Then we'll cut it here.
Yeah. No, we won't. We'll leave that in. But become our friends, and we can say thank you, friends. Thanks for stopping by and listening to our podcast.
And as always, stay fresh, cheese bags. Fresh cheese bags. Fresh cheese bags. Fresh cheese bags. Fresh.